Pokémon has always told us that before challenging the Pokémon League, we need to collect all 8 gym badges. But what if I could walk into the Champions Room whenever I wanted? Could I beat Blue with 7 badges? 5? Maybe even before beating Brock? Obviously, Pokémon Yellow doesn't normally let you walk straight into the Champions Room, but by using a script, I'm able to warp into Blue's room anytime and challenge him. So let's find out. The rules are simple. I can use anything available before every gym. This means Pokémon, TMs, moves, items, etc. There is also a level cap, so before Brock, the level cap is 12. After Brock, Misty's Starmie raises it to 21, and so on. No grinding a level 60 Nidoking before the first batch, since that would make this challenge pointless. That's pretty much all, so let's begin. The first major thing happens during the first rival battle. Blue's champion team in Pokémon Yellow isn't fixed. His EV evolves differently depending on how these first rivals battles go. By losing the first fight, we get Vaporeon. Jolteon and Flareon depend on the outcome of future rival battles, and since I'm not sure how the script would react to skipping some parts of the game, I think locking in Vaporeon is the best solution to avoid any issues down the line. So before even getting our first batch, we are already preparing for the champion. We can now prepare for the first attempt against Blue, just before Brock. On the way to Pewter City, I catch a Mankey and a male Nidoran near Viridian City and a Caterpie in Viridian Forest. Just before the Pewter City entrance, I also catch a female Nidoran and a Pidgey. There is not much that can be done this early in the game, so I level the team to the level cap and evolve Caterpie all the way to Butterfree. Behold the team of 6 for our first attempt with no badges. Female Nidoran, Pikachu, male Nidoran, Pidgey, Butterfree, and Mankey. And as you can see, the moves are not exactly optimal. But that's what we have access to for now. Time to warp to the champion battle. This is not how I remembered it. But hey, it works. I never claimed to be a programmer, so as long as it works, I'm okay. Blue sends out a level 61 Sandslash, and you can pretty much imagine how this attempt goes. Sandslash starts one-shotting one Pokémon after the other. At level 61, it is just too fast and strong for any of our Pokémon to really do anything. So we get steamrolled and sent straight back to Pewter City. Since it was not even close, there is no point in trying again. So we just go and beat Brock. This increases the level cap to 21, matching Misty's Starmie, the next gym leader. Now we gain access to more areas. On our way to Mount Moon, we catch Sandshrew and Spearow, and buy a Magikarp from the shady guy in the Pokémon Center. Butterfree also learns a Sleep Powder, which is an amazing move because sleep is broken in Gen 1. Pokémon don't attack on the turn they wake up, meaning a good sleep can give us several free turns. We can use those turns to switch into another Pokémon, set up, and hopefully find a way to overpower Sandslash. Also, now that we have the Boulder Badge, we can abuse another mechanic in Gen 1 called the Badge Boost glitch. We make our way across Mount Moon, while catching Paras, Geodude, and Clefairy. We also find a Moonstone, which may be useful if we decide to use Nidoking or Clefable at some point. We make it to Cerulean City and cross Nugget Bridge, where we catch Oddish and Bellsprout and also get Charmander. We save Bill, get the SS ticket, and eventually make our way south, where we catch Abra and Drowsy. At this point, I have all the Pokémon I'm interested in for now, so we can start preparing for the one batch attempt against Blue. We evolve Bellsprout, evolve Abra and trade Kadabra to get Alakazam. Finally, we evolve Magikarp into Gyarados and train the whole team to level 21. This is now the team that we are going to use. Pikachu learned Double Team, which could be useful if we manage to put Sandslash to sleep and get some free setup turns. Butterfree has Sleep Powder, which is pretty much the centerpiece of the strategy. The same goes for Weepinbell, who also has Wrap, another pretty broken move in Gen 1. Wrap traps the enemy Pokémon and doesn't let it do anything for several turns. If you are faster, you can potentially keep trapping the opponent over and over without letting it move once. Drowsy can also put the enemy to sleep with Hypnosis, and I'm sure you are starting to see a theme with this team. Gyarados is here mostly because of raw power, although its moveset is not really something to write home about yet. And finally, we have Alakazam, one of the best Pokémon in the game, period. Time for revenge. And look, this time the script worked perfectly. Just like last time, Sandslash is the first Pokémon out. We try to put it to sleep with Butterfree, but Sandslash outspeeds and one-shots us. Whipping Bell, however, actually survives and lands a sleep powder, so I switch into Pikachu and start setting up double teams. Sandslash stays asleep long enough for us to reach +6 evasion, and now is probably a good time to talk about the badge boost glitch. In Generation 1, earning certain badges gives you a permanent boost to one of your stats. The Boulder badge boosts attack. That is how the mechanic is intended to work. However, since Generation 1 games are glued together with chewing gum, whenever one of your stats changes, the game can reapply the badge boost. So in this case, every time I use double team, I'm increasing my evasion while also reapplying the attack boost from the Boulder badge. After 6 double teams, we have maximum evasion and a much higher attack stat. And with all that increased attack, turns out it's still not nearly enough to beat Sandslash. At least our evasion is doing its job, so Sandslash keeps missing while we slowly reduce its HP. Eventually, we run out of useful PP after missing far too many slams, and Sandslash finally connects and takes Pikachu down. The rest of the team tries to finish the job. Whipping Bell puts it back to sleep and gets some setup with Growth and Wrap. Alakazam eventually brings Sandslash all the way down to red health, but in the end, we still lose. Still, compared to the 0 badge attempt, this is a massive improvement. Since it was close, I decide to teach Pikachu Mega Punch and try again. Maybe having more attacking PP changes the outcome. This time we open with Whipping Bell, since we already know it can survive a hit, and put Sandslash to sleep. Once again, Pikachu comes in and starts setting up, but this time Sandslash wakes up earlier and the attempt falls apart. I could keep resetting until I get better sleep turns, but then I realized something. Even if I manage to beat Sandslash, there is no way this team could realistically handle the other 5 Pokemon Blue still has, so I gave up on the 1 badge attempt. After beating Misty and earning a second badge, the level cap increases to 28, and this is where things start getting really interesting. We go through Diglett's cave and catch a Diglett. Next, we go to the SSN to get the HM for Cut. With Cut, we gain access to a few more areas and Pokemon. I trade Clefairy for Mr. Mind, catch a Jigglypuff and make my way through Rock Tunnel, where I also catch Machop before arriving in Lavender Town. At this point, the main problem is getting to Fuchsia City. The Safari Zone has some of the Pokemon I'm most interested in for the next attempt, but to reach Fuchsia we first need to get past the Snorlax blocking the route, and for that we need the Pokeflute. To get the Pokeflute, we need to rescue Mr. Fuji at the top of Pokemon Tower, and to do that, we first need the Silph Scope. So we head to Celadon City. While we are here, we get Eevee and pick up some very useful stuff from the department store. This place is especially important because we can buy TMs like Double Team and Horn Drill, which may end up being really useful later. We also go to Saffron to get the TM for Psychic, and take a small break to gamble our savings away. West of Celadon, we also catch Doduo. Then we go back to business. To get the Silph Scope, we clear the Rocket Hideout and defeat Giovanni. With the Silph Scope in hand, we can finally return to the Pokemon Tower, and while making our way up, we catch Gastly. Gastly is really interesting because it gives us some tools that can actually work against Pokemon more than 30 levels above us. Nightshade deals damage equal to the user's level, so once we train it to level 28, it will always deal 28 damage regardless of how high Blue's defenses are. It also gets Confuse Ray for some extra cheese and can make good use of Double Team, so I definitely want to keep it as an option for the next team. We make our way to the top of Pokemon Tower, calm the Marowak ghost and save Mr. Fuji. And finally, he gives us the Pokeflute. Now we can wake up Snorlax, get past it and finally reach Fuchsia City. Which is important because now we have access to the Safari Zone. But before going in, we also need the Super Rod. Now we can finally look for the Pokemon I really want for our third attempt. First, we catch Execute. Once evolving to Executor, it has good bulk, access to Hypnosis and Leech Seed, which could make it really useful for creating free turns and supporting another Pokemon while it sets up. Then Dratini appears and this happens. Yeah. After switching boxes, I went back to the Safari Zone and this time I found a Dragonair. And Dragonair is the main Pokemon I'm looking for, so I catch it. With the current level cap of 28, matching Lieutenant Surge Raichu, we would not be able to evolve Dratini normally because it evolves at level 30. Thankfully, Dragonair itself appears in the Safari Zone below level 28, so even though we can't evolve Dratini, we can just catch Dragonair directly and use it completely legally. And this Pokemon gives us a strategy that could potentially beat Blue's entire team. But before going into that, we still need to prepare the rest of the team. Remember that paras we caught back in Moon Moon? We keep it unevolved until it learns the Spore at level 27. This is important because if we evolve it too early, Parasect doesn't learn Spore until level 30, which would make it unavailable under our current cap. After learning Spore, we evolved it into Parasect. Now we have a Pokémon with 100% accurate sleep move. We evolved Gastly into Haunter and traded it to get a Gengar. That's what I would have said had I not forgotten to do it. So, we are stuck with Hunter. We also evolve Execute into Executor and level the whole team to 28. Now, let's look at the final 6 in more detail. First, Haunter. Nightshade gives us consistent damage regardless of the massive level difference. Confuse Ray can help us steal some turns, and Lick may give us a lucky paralysis. Double Team is pretty much mandatory, and thankfully the TM can be bought in Celadon City. Next is Dragonair. This is the centerpiece of the team. It can learn Horn Drill through a TM, which can also be bought in Celadon. Horn Drill instantly knocks out the opponent if it hits, but there is one major problem. In Gen 1, Horn Drill will always fail if the opponent is faster than us, and at level 28, Blue's Pokémon are definitely faster than Dragonair. Thankfully, Dragonair learns agility naturally, so the idea is to put Sandslash to sleep, bring Dragonair in and use agility until we are fast enough to actually connect Horn Drill. Agility also gives us another option. If we outspeed, we can use Wrap and potentially trap opponents so they can move while we slowly damage them. And because changing our speed also activates the Batch Boost glitch, every agility reapplies our Boulder Batch attack boost. That doesn't affect Horn Drill, but it does make Wrap a little more useful. We also have Double Team to make Dragonair harder to hit once everything starts waking up. The third team member is Executor. It is mainly here to support Dragonair. Hypnosis gives us another way to put Sandslash to sleep. Leech Seed provides passive damage and healing, and Executor is bulky enough that it can hopefully survive a few hits while setting everything up. Parasect is our other sleep option. Spore has perfect accuracy, so if Parasect gets a turn, we know something is going to sleep. Alakazam is here because it's still one of the best Pokémon in the game. Also, Thunder Wave may also end up being useful if we need to slow something down. And finally, Gyarados, which now actually has a moveset. Surf gives us reliable damage and Ice Beam give us a chance to freeze. And freeze is completely broken in Gen 1. A frozen Pokémon has no chance of thawing out by itself, so if we get a lucky freeze, that Pokémon is basically dead. Dragon Rage is also really useful because it always deals exactly 40 damage. Against Pokémon more than 30 levels above us, consistent damage like that is actually pretty valuable. So the basic plan is simple. Executor or Parasect put something to sleep. Dragonair uses those free turns to set up agility and double team. Then we start trying to delete Blue's team with Horn Drill, and if that fails, Haunter, Alakazam and Gyarados are there to somehow clean up the mess. For the first time in the challenge, we actually have a strategy that could potentially beat all 6 Pokémon. So let's try it. Our old friend Sandslash is back, but this time Executor tanks the Poison Sting easily and sets up Reflect. We use Leech Seed for some passive damage and healing, and then put Sandslash to sleep with Hypnosis. Now we switch into Dragonair and start setting up Double Team and Agility while Sandslash sleeps. After 2 agilities, we try Horn Drill. It connects. And finally, we beat one of Blue's Pokémon. But our happiness doesn't last long. Alakazam comes in, outspeeds Dragonair and one-shots us with Psybeam. It then proceeds to destroy the rest of the team. So I reset. The problem is obvious. Dragonair doesn't just need to be faster than Sandslash, it needs to be faster than Alakazam too. So this time, I'm going to try setting up agility all the way to maximum speed. The only problem is that Sandslash still needs to stay asleep long enough for us to do it, and it is not being very cooperative. It keeps waking up too early and beating Dragonair, so I have to reset several times until we finally get the sleep turns we need. Eventually, everything lines up. We set up Double Team and Agility all the way. Horn Drill takes out Sandslash. Time for Alakazam. Will we outspeed it? Yes! We move first, but will Horn Drill connect? Yes! It does, and Alakazam goes down. Already much better than the previous attempt. Next is Executor. We miss the first Horn Drill and take a barrage, but luckily Dragonair survives. The second Horn Drill connects, 3 Pokémon down. Then Ninetales comes out. It confuses out and we miss our last Horn Drill. Dragonair starts hitting itself in confusion until eventually it goes down. Or maybe Pokémon is gone. But it defeated half of Blue's team in the process. So now we need a backup plan. I send out Haunter, and of course, we get confused too. We hit ourselves a couple of times until Lick finally connects and gets the paralysis on Ninetales. Now we outspeed, so we start setting up double team while keeping Ninetales confused and slowly damaging it with Nightshade. We make it all the way to maximum evasion, and eventually Ninetales hits itself in confusion and goes down. 4 Pokémon defeated. Then something completely unexpected happens. Haunter levels up and learns Hypnosis. I could edit this video and pretend this was all planned. It was not. I would also look pretty smart if I said I intentionally didn't evolve Haunter so it could learn Hypnosis during the champion battle, but Gengar actually learns it at the same level. So no, I just forgot. Still, we now have Hypnosis. Magneton comes out and we immediately put it to sleep. And since Haunter is already at maximum evasion, the strategy becomes pretty simple. Hypnosis, Confuse Ray, Nightshade, repeat. Eventually, Magneton goes down. And now there is only one Pokémon left between us and victory, Vaporeon. The same Vaporeon we locked Blue into during the first rival battle. Haunter puts it to sleep and we start lowering its HP with Nightshade. Thanks to our evasion, whenever Vaporeon wakes up, we keep dodging its attacks. We are getting really close. Yellow health, red health, we almost have it. One more lick will do the trick. But as a last ditch effort, Vaporeon connects with Hydro Pump through our maximum evasion. Haunter goes down. We tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. Or does it? We still have Gyarados, the same Magikarp we bought from that shady guy near the beginning of the game. Gyarados comes in. It tanks a quick attack, Dragon Rage, and Vaporeon goes down. And that's it! We beat the champion! So how many badges do you actually need to be the champion in Pokemon Yellow? 2. And a little bit of luck. Time to celebrate and get our name registered in the Hall of Fame. That's what I would have said if the game hadn't crashed after the win. So apparently, there are 2 different answers to this challenge. How many badges do you need to beat the champion in Pokemon Yellow? 2. How many badges do you need to actually beat Pokemon Yellow? Apparently, still 8. And now there's an obvious question. How many badges do you need to beat the champion in Pokemon Crystal? If you want to find out, subscribe and I'll see you there. Thanks for watching.